This video is developed to provide pre-transfer report for the emergency room physician. Hello, my name is Nigat Saeed. I'm a nurse practitioner student at Franklin University and involved in direct patient care in collaboration with my clinical preceptor. I'm calling the emergency room physician in regards to Mr. JB, who is a 59-year-old African-American male who presented to the health center around 10 a.m. in the morning with a complaint of mid-sternal chest pain that started 3 hours ago. The pain was sudden in onset while carrying out his routine daily walk in the morning. Pain is described by the patient as squeezing and pressure-like, more diffuse, and radiates to the left shoulder and the neck. Pain lasts for about 10 to 15 minutes, and on the scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the worst, patient rated his pain between 6 and 7. Pain is aggravated on exertion, and nothing seems to relieve it. Pain was accompanied with nausea, shortness of breath, and diaphoresis. There is no cough, hemoptysis, palpitations, syncope, or weakness in his extremities. There is no history of coronary artery disease, stroke, or peripheral vascular disease. Patient has past history of hypertension for the last 18 years, type 2 diabetes for the last 10 years, high cholesterol for the last 6 years. Patient is obese with a current weight of 238 pounds. He is a chronic smoker and smokes 10 cigarettes per day for the last 20 years. Patient does not have a history of alcohol intake or illicit drugs. Patient was not recently hospitalized. Patient has a family history for one parent and one sibling with coronary artery disease before age 65. Patient's current medications include lisinopril 20 milligrams once daily, amlodipine 10 milligrams once daily, metformin 500 milligrams twice daily, Jardiance 25 milligrams once daily, atorvastatin 20 milligrams once daily, and aspirin 81 milligrams once daily. Patient has no known drug allergies. On physical exam, patient is not in acute distress or cardiac arrest. Airway, breathing, and circulation is intact, and patient is stable with chest discomfort. His vitals, including blood pressure, is 158/92. Pulse is 92 and regular. His respiratory rate is 18 and regular and non-labored. His temp is 98.6. His OSAT is 98% on room air. Patient is alert and oriented ×3. His skin is cooler and clammy. Chest is clear bilaterally. JBP is not raised, and hepatojugular reflex is absent. There are no carotid bruit bilaterally. S1 and S2 rate and rhythm is regular. No murmurs, no S3, no S4, and no gallop. There is no peripheral leg edema, no tenderness or signs of inflammation bilaterally in the lower extremities. On a GI exam, patient's bowel sounds normoactive in all 4 quadrants. Abdomen is non-distended without abnormal pulsations, mass, or tenderness. On diagnostic testing, the patient was subjected to 12-lead EKG. EKG showed ST segment depression and T wave inversion without evolving Q waves. Further testing with cardiac biomarkers, including troponin I and T, CKMB, and myoglobin, is recommended to evaluate for non-ST elevation and ST elevation myocardial infarction. My assumed diagnosis is non-ST elevation MI or subendocardial ischemia without MI, any emerging STEMI needs to be ruled out. In clinic, the treatment provided to the patient was after asking the patient if he has taken Viagra or Cialis in the last 24 to 48 hours, and he was informed about the combination of nitrates and Viagra or Cialis that could cause fatal drop in his blood pressure. After patient denied taking these medications, patient was administered nitroglycerin 0.4 milligrams sublingually every 5 minutes for 3 doses, and the 3 doses were insufficient to relieve his chest pain. Tablet aspirin in a dose of 162 milligrams stat was also administered. Patient blood pressure was stable then at 142 over 86. Pulse was 86 regular, respiration 18 with effort. 98.4 was his temp, and OSAT was 99% on the start of 2 liters of supplemental oxygen via nasal cannula. If the patient continues to have chest pain, suggested other adjunct interventions included Plavix 75 milligrams, beta blockers, heparin 60 micrograms per kg, IV in conjunction with glycoproteins, 2B or 2A inhibitors such as TNK, weight-based dosing as single IV over 5 seconds, not to exceed 50 milligrams of TNK. At this time and point, I have activated EMS medical service by calling 911. The EMS was dispatched within 10 minutes. On arrival of EMS, medical report was communicated by me. Patient was on full code status. On assessment, paramedics connected the patient first with the cardiac monitor and assessed and supported his ABCs, established IV line, prepared for CPR and rapid defibrillation if needed, increased his supplemental oxygen to 4 liters to titrate SpO2 and maintain it above 95%. 12-week EKG showed at this point evolving ST elevation with new onset left bundle branch block. So code STMI alert was activated by EMS, and the receiving hospital was notified by the EMS. Hospital was able to activate STMI team for initiating percutaneous coronary intervention in the cath lab. Door to balloon inflation time should be within 90 minutes for STMI. If transfer time to cath lab for PCI is delayed, the patient will be assessed in the emergency room for fibrinolytic therapy for reperfusion. The inclusion criteria for fibrinolytic therapy would be if patient presents with the complaints of acute coronary syndrome symptoms for greater than 15 minutes or less than 12 hours. And if 12-lead EKG reflects STMI or presumably a new onset left bundle branch block. If there is no contraindication to fibrinolytic therapy, patient would go ahead with it, plan within 30 minutes of the starting of the chest pain. In this case, there is no absolute or relative contraindication to fibrinolytic therapy. So it is important to call EMS and 911 early for patients who presents with chest pain secondary to acute coronary syndrome in the health clinic to give hospital adequate time to prepare themselves to receive the patient for percutaneous coronary intervention or fibrinolytic therapy if required. And the goal is to reduce time it takes to open the coronary vessels and reperfuse the heart, prevent sudden premature death, and which is secondary to myocardial infarction, and save a life and time. Thank you for watching.